we have Charles, Hillary, and Dave of Lady A on Pure Country. Nice to see you guys. It's been far too long since I've seen you guys in person, but this works too.
Yeah.
This will have to suffice. I know. We'll have to see you soon in person.
No kidding. I think the last time I actually got to chat with you guys was doing this exact same thing, talking about the new record when you guys dropped Ocean back in 2019, which I don't know about you, but that kind of seems like 10 years ago.
It does as well.
So first off, we're going to talk about the first single right now, which is Like a Lady. And this song is such a fun one. And I feel like it would have been such a shame if you guys weren't able to get out on the road and play it live, because I think this song needed to live in a live setting. So what has that been like, getting out on the road on the What a Song Can Do tour and actually getting to hear fans finally sing it back to you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. You know, I do remember sitting in the room when we wrote that song and thinking, this song gives me hope that we will play live again. And so to then fast forward to now, and, you know, we're winding down our tour here, and it's been amazing. We open the show with it every night, and it gets, I think, the show off to a really energetic and fun start. And hearing the crowd, the roar, them singing along, we don't take it for granted anymore, because we went so many months without being able to experience it. And so we're very, very grateful to be back.
And I feel like picking singles is a very difficult thing to do when you have a record that is so strong. I don't know how you guys narrow it down. It's like if somebody asked you to pick who your favorite kid was, and I don't think you could do it, but how do you narrow it down and go, okay, this, out of all of 14 songs on this record, this is the one that we're going to put out there?
You know, that's difficult. And you always second guess and wonder what if, you know, and you have to, I think after being a band now and doing this 14, 15 years, you're like, I'm proud of it all, whatever journey it takes, you know, but, you know, I think the main reason we chose, there's definitely some heavier material on the project as well, but the main reason we chose that as the first single is, again, we kind of felt like this would be such a great song for touring, and we were hopeful we'd be able to tour. But I also just think after such a heavy year and a half, we just felt like people would want to hear something that just made them feel good and put a smile on their face. And then we can start following, you know, that up with some other material. Like we've also been on the road, you know, doing the title track, What a Song Can Do, which has been going over huge. We've been doing that, and Things He Handed Down and songs like that. And so, you know, I think that's the kind of band we've always tried to be is, you know, we can be the serious duet band, but we also, you know, have a lot of lighthearted, you know, bangers, as the kids like to say. With like, you know, You Look Good and Bartender and Downtown. We like that kind of energy. It's such a great live show, you know, thing that you really, you know, that's always in the back of our mind. Like, how is this music going to translate live? And so I think Like a Lady just felt like a good introduction back out there, back out into the world again.
And I was going to save this for the end, but I feel like you guys, when I look at musicians in country music right now, a lot of artists have kind of a shtick that, you know, it's breakup songs or party songs or love songs that is kind of their thing. And you guys have always been kind of a band that can do it all and do it all really well. Like, you guys can sing Champagne Night and be partying with your friends and then make me cry listening to Where Would I Be? And that is an impressive thing that I feel like over the years you guys have really perfected. And this record kind of highlights every piece of Lady A, the party, the faithful music, the inspirational stuff, the heartbreak, the breakup songs. Was that kind of your focus in making this record, is we want to give Lady A fans just all we got?
It was the greatest hits of us for the last year and a half of writing. Yeah. There's a lot of truth to that. I mean, I think every record, that's just how we like to listen to a record, that takes you through a little bit of a journey of ebbs and flows.
We're intentional about it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we are. When we're picking songs for the record, I mean, we want to have all those characters on there. I mean, that's, like Charles was saying, we love the journeys that our favorite records took us on. And that's what everyone's playlists are filled with in their car anyway. I mean, they have playlists that are totally all over the place, sound-wise and content-wise, and that's just what we love. I mean, we want to, you know, send a heartfelt message. We want to have something inspirational, but we want to have songs about, you know, not drinking alone with your friends and, you know, having a good time out on the road. And So yeah, I mean, we try to make sure we have songs that kind of check all the boxes for different leads, different content, because that's the way that we kind of love to consume music too.
Yeah.
And so talking about that song, Friends Don't Let Friends Drink Alone with Thomas Rhett, Carly Pearce, and Darius Rucker, that song, I haven't seen my friends in a really long time, and listening to it, I'm like, I really need to go see my friends and have a drink with them. What was it like putting that together and choosing who was going to be a part of that song? Because I know you guys have such great friends in this industry that had to be kind of tough.
Yeah, we had it showed itself kind of organically. I, of course, wrote the song with Thomas Rhett, so I was like, well, you got to sing on it. He didn't have a choice. But we spent a lot of time hanging out, Thomas and I and our families, down at the beach, over the past year. And so when we wrote that, I was actually on the golf course with Darius one day. I said, dude, check out this song, man. I was like, would you have any interest singing on it? And he was all in. And we feel like we needed to also have a strong female. And we knew we were about to go on the road with Carly Pearce, who we've been really close with over the past, 4 or 5 years. And it just kind of all organically came together. And we did want, though, 3 uniquely powerful voices. They all sound very different. Darius, Thomas Rhett, and Carly, it's them when they sing. And I think that was kind of important, when you're going to do this, that way you can really pick out who the characters are. But I think it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one live. I think it's going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, I would love it to be a single sometime down the road and get to perform it on, some TV show. Would be amazing.
That was what I was going to say. Is there any plans to perform that with the whole crew?
At some point, I can't imagine it wouldn't, but you never know.
Yeah. And so where would I be? I mentioned it before. We have a sign in our kitchen that says we dance in this kitchen, because we just always turn music on, whether it's fast songs, slow songs. That song makes me like, if I'm not near my husband, I'm like, where is he? I miss him. But then we have a little boy now, and it makes me think of him, of like, if we didn't, happen, we wouldn't have you. Where would I be right now? And so when you guys listen to that song, because I think it doesn't necessarily just have to be about relationships, it's about anybody in your life who made a big impact. Who do you each think of when you hear that song?
Well, I think of how we met,
Mhm.
and how we, if one of us, like, well, Charles and Dave grew up together in Augusta, Georgia, and middle school, high school, college. But, the way Charles and I met, if one of us had showed up 5 minutes later after the other one had gone, I mean, there's so many just different things that we wouldn't be sitting here right now. And so to me, it's just a really sweet way of really kind of, I see our story as a band, how we became Lady A in that song.
I love that one. I think it's hard for me to choose a favorite off the record, but I keep going back to that one.
Yeah.
And then I switch over to Waves, because I feel like that song, it makes me either want to jump in my car, roll the windows down, and just drive way too fast where I might get a ticket, or sit in a ball on the couch and just like hug a blanket. But that song kind of takes me, like, gives like John Mayer vibes. It's kind of a different side of Lady A that I feel like I haven't heard before.
Yeah, we kind of almost, it's got a little tinge of some kind of yacht rock vibes. And again, like you said earlier, I think that's kind of what we're going for on this record, without really even knowing we were going for it. Was just throwing a bunch of different flavors in there and keeping the interest. I think it's so hard to keep people's interest these days for 14 songs on a record. And so I just want people to kind of be able to kind of meander their way through this record and find their favorites. And I do. I think it's going to be interesting. It's always fun for me after a record comes out to see which ones kind of rise to the top as people's favorites. And I'm always surprised every time about what does and what doesn't react, because sometimes some of them don't react as much, and you're like, I'm surprised. I would have thought that would have been the one. But I think that it's just very, for us, the biggest theme that we try to go with is, do we like it? And does it speak to us? Does it feel present where we are right now? And I think if we can always stick with that, then you just let, the rest of it kind of take whatever journey it's going to take. Enjoy just the process of making the record, and just, put all your eggs in that basket and not worry if it sells as much as the last one or whatever that is,
And going back to one of, like, I think one of my favorite songs of yours that really blew up, not just with fans, but also in the industry. I feel like a lot of your fellow artists looked at that song and went, wow, that is a huge song for Lady A, was What If I Never Get Over You. And it was so cool watching so many of your fellow artists doing covers of it. I was like, that's how you know people are like really championing that song.
Yeah.
And one of them actually was your tour mate, Tennille Arts, our fellow Canadian girl. She did a cover of it back when it first came out. And I just love seeing her out on the road with you. I know she's such a huge fan of yours. Has that been fun? You know, because for her, that's her first big tour. Has it been fun kind of getting to, you know, show her the way that things are done on a big tour like that?
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, we're fans of hers. I fell in love with her album when it came out, top to bottom. My wife and I listened to it on a road trip we had, and I would text them. I'm like, y'all, Tennille Arts. I mean, this record's a jam. She's going to be a star. So it's been fun to watch her star rise. And I love the connection to Canada. We've done so much all throughout Canada. We love being able to play up there. So it's fun to have a good Canadian artist out in front of us. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
I love her music. I love that I get to have girl time on the road. We went shopping in Vegas a couple weeks ago together and grabbed lunch. It was a handful of us girls that are out on the tour. And it was so fun to just get some kind of quality time with her, kind of away from the stage. And then we actually have all the artists on the tour come up and sing with us every night during our show. And it's this fun medley moment. And Tennille does an incredible Dua Lipa, I will say. It's really fun. It makes for a great, just great moment in the show.
That's got to be so cool for you, especially Hillary, just having a young girl that, you know, I know she looks up to you so much, to just get to see and maybe like think your daughter one day will have that same opportunity to, you know, go out and get to tour with one of their heroes or learn from one of their heroes. It's kind of cool when you look at it in that scope of going like what she must be going through right now. Her mind must just be blown.
Oh, and I mean, when we started, you know, the first tour we were ever on was Martina McBride. And, you know, she was successful working mom with 3 daughters. I would have never guessed that I would say the same thing. And, you know, just learning and watching other women in this industry, you know, not just musically and professionally do incredible things, but also have their home life balance too. And that be inspiring. I think it's more important than ever for especially women in this industry to really just lean on one another, encourage each other, different phases of your career, you know, finding an artist that is a few years behind you, or, you know, seeking out the wisdom of an artist a few years ahead of you. I think it's just, you are always better for it. And it makes it really fun and makes it feel like the country music family that I really believe that it is and can be. So I've loved every second of it.
That's awesome. And I remember talking to you. I looked at the old interview I did with you guys during the Ocean release, and I was single, all that. And now I'm married with a baby. And I'm like, man, a lot can change in 2 years. But I remember thinking, you know, you guys all have families and bring them out on the road with you. And, you know, they're a part of your life touring too. And so for me, I'm like, I've lived through a pandemic working from home. I'm like, you all inspire me that I can like get back out in the world with a baby and make it work.
You absolutely can.
So I have to say, the Canadian connection that you guys have, one of those people also happens to be my husband, who is a writer on your record, on one of the songs that I can honestly say has been stuck in my head since last November. I remember when you guys wrote that, You Keep Thinking That, I think it was like last November.
Yep.
That melody, I was humming it all the time in my head. And I loved the version because Charles, you originally were the lead on that.
Yeah.
And I remember Steven telling me, he's like, you know, Charles kept saying like a female needs to sing this. And I was like, yes, because I truly felt like that was a song that 25-year-old Shannon needed in her life. So when I heard the version with Hillary, I was like, this is an anthem for not just women, but especially women in this song. And what was that process like of changing it up and going, okay, Hillary, you're the one that needs to sing this one?
I may have begged.
No, I kept, it felt a little bit arrogant coming from a guy, and it felt a little bit more like strong coming from a woman. I don't know. There was, and just kind of like independent and strong from a guy. It just kind of made me just go, you're just kind of an ass. And so, but it's funny. I actually was texting with Slow. That's everybody for people that are watching. Steven's nickname Slow, but I was texting with him yesterday about trying to get back together and do some more writing. I told him, I said, man, we wrote so much through the pandemic. I was like, I need to take a break from writing, and now I'm starting to get inspired to do it again. But yeah, that song is again a pure example of needing that balance on a record, and that was a character we needed off that record. Is because it also it extends alongside really good with Like a Lady.
It does. It makes
you
want to do this.
Is it fun for you to kind of get to put that character on and maybe go back to channeling the girl that maybe went through that breakup and needed that song?
Yes. Oh, yes. And I feel like what's cool about it, and this, I don't mean this to sound like super sappy, but then I feel like, after recording that song, I go home and I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you for breaking up with me or breaking my heart, because now I have this incredible husband with these children that I couldn't imagine my life being any different. So it's one of those things where it hits me differently now, being, married for, it'll be 10 years in January with 3 children. But I think it's important to kind of go back and access that part of yourself. Not only because it's just fun to get in character sometimes, but it also helps you appreciate the journey. And so that's what that song does for me, for sure.
It's also kind of an inspiration too, if you're someone who's struggling in a breakup and you are actually breaking down. Hearing it would make me go, no, I have to like pick myself up and sing this to that person.
It's
that
like
I'm
the sassy, not quite as sad version of You'll Think of Me.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, that's sad, and I can cry in a glass of wine listening to that song to this day. But this one is like taking the power back.
And then you turn on You Look Good and get ready and go out downtown.
Yes.
have a party.
Exactly.
So, title of the album, What a Song Can Do. I feel like it's such a perfect title for the record, which obviously is why you named it that. But this record has so many songs on it that can do so much for every person that listens to it in so many different ways. And it makes me think when I'm going through it, which song I need at what time in my life, because I feel like you can kind of find all of that in this. But can you guys think of a song maybe that when you were starting in your career, or even now, that's come out recently, that has spoke to you and maybe kind of made you step up a little bit, or, strive to be even better, or has healed you in a way that's not on this record?
Yeah. I mean, outside artists, I think one of the songs that I've listened to probably more than any other, and just, I love it for all the reasons, it's Marin's The Bones. I absolutely, it's one of my favorite songs in the last 5 years. I think it's one of those that makes me think. I love the melody. I love singing along with it. That would be mine.
Mm-hmm. There's, when you talk about what a song can do, there's so much music in that sort of early 90s country era that got me, that's when I was starting to read CD booklets and reading all these names of musicians and, producers and, the early Tim McGraw stuff. So, I think some of that, like Tim McGraw, Garth Brooks stuff really kind of, shot me into being obsessed with country music, wanting to maybe play music one day, and so that song was a big part of, some of those songs were a big part of my journey.
Charles.
Yeah, gosh, so much music made me start to kind of think. I listening to Casey Musgrave's last record, it made me strive to want to make just a timeless, great record. I think that record's going to be around forever. I love her new one too. But that previous one just blew my mind in so many ways. I think that's the best piece of art that's come out in probably the last, decade. And so it definitely made me look at, she wasn't chasing anything. It didn't seem like she was trying to chase some radio hit. She just made a great record. And so I think that's tried to be a little theme of ours over the past few records, is just to put the art before the commerce.
Well, I will say American Honey was a song for me that obviously I didn't become a singer or a songwriter, but it was a song that made me realize how much I really loved country music and made me go, I could actually make a career out of this. That's crazy. So that song was huge
wow.
for me.
That's
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Awesome. Thank you.
And it
Thank
still
you.
is. I love it
That's
so much. So this album is incredible. I cannot wait. Same thing like you said, Charles. I can't wait to see what fans gravitate towards because
Yeah,
I think it's
never
hard to
know.
pick a favorite on it. If I had to ask you to pick a favorite song on What a Song Can Do, what would you say?
Oh, goodness.
For me, it probably is What a Song Can Do, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably have to say You Keep Thinking That.
I know.
You
Your
don't.
husband.
One of my
There's
faves.
no
for
bias.
sure.
No.
For sure. I mean, I love Worship What I Hate just
Yeah.
because it's like
Those two are my favorites.
kind of the page in my diary I don't want anybody to read.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was important to put out.
Mhm.
What about you?
Yeah, I think Things He Handed Down jumps out for me.
Oh.
I mean, when Charles sent that over the very first time, I remember I lost the email he sent it in, and I was like, where in the world is that one song about your dad, your father, the things he passed along? So that's a special one that tugs at the heartstrings for me.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Where Would I Be if I had to pick my favorite of all
Nice.
the songs on the record. But
Good choice.
congratulations. It's so good having you guys on Pure Country, and we cannot wait to get you back to Canada soon.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well,
Good to
hopefully
see
see
you.
you soon. Thank you.